I was reading an article in The Ringer that kind of sent me down this path, and I want to see what you guys think, because I don't think I'm there yet, but so much of the talk in the first two games has been like, oh, the Celtics aren't even playing that good, and they're still winning the games. So in The Ringer, it says the Mavericks might not have a counter for these Celtics. And so my question for y'all is, do you look at this and say, Dallas can beat Boston, or do you look at it and say, I kind of need the Celtics to beat themselves?
Yes.
Okay.
I think if both teams play good or great together, you'll lose every game. Does that make sense? But the Mavericks have to play better, and the Celtics have to play worse.
So if they're at their same optimized level,
you'll lose every time.
Okay.
But if you play great and they play good, you can beat them. Okay. If you play good and they play average, you can beat them. But I think talent-wise, they're better than you. I don't want to say coach-wise, but I always watch, I'm sure everybody's seeing the things on Twitter if you're seeing just how they're putting Luka either in one-on-one matchups, or they're making sure Kyrie and Luka are our rim protectors.
Yes.
Like, they've done so many different things
that you don't even realize until it plays out in the last 5 seconds. You're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, you're like, why is Luka the one defending the rim right now, which is non-defensive, or Kyrie defending the rim? You're like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
And it's the Celtics dictating kind of their flow of where they're putting guys early on in the shot clock, and then getting us in horrible positions to help, or putting us in a position where Luka or Kyrie is on one of their best players in a one-on-one situation.
Do you guys feel at all that maybe in the excitement to help or switch, the Mavericks have made some incorrect rotations that's led to some easy baskets? Because there's been a couple of, like, not always corners, sometimes wing threes that you're like, dude, that's definitely not your guy. Yeah. Like, both of you guys closed out on the same person, and one of you definitely made the wrong rotation.
100%. And it's almost like, I'm not an NBA coach, but it's almost like you want to maybe get back into like a 2-3 or a 3-2 matchup zone. And then,
even those zones are for cowards.
Yes, I agree. But it's almost like we have to at least start this off with Lively guarding somebody either in the corner or on, I won't say on the block. Nobody really gets to the block now, but where at least you're in a decent position to start off the possession, because the Mavericks get back and it seems like, God, we're already in horrible matchup positions, because my son was asking, why is Lively guarding, Tatum right now? And I'm like, because they pushed the ball after the defensive rebound, and we just had to pick up whoever we could pick up. Mm-hmm. And so, one, making more shots does help out setting up your defense. Two, if you just get back, and if everybody gets back as fast as they can, maybe you can get into like your spot, and then you just pick up the guy in your spot. And so at least you're in a better position to start off the defensive possession.
Yeah, pushing tempo kills the Mavs whenever they're trying to get their defense set up, especially if they didn't get it out of the basket. And then the other thing too is watch Drew Holiday fight through screens, and then watch our guys. And it's like they'll be committed on a play here and there, but not every single play. Drew Holiday is like every play matters more than anything to me. And he battles through it, and our guys don't.
And Danny Green yesterday, we were talking about, the dunk spot, and he was like, just felt like, he goes, I don't know how many actual shots Drew Holiday made, but he felt like he was in the dunk spot every time. I believe he might have had 9 layups.
Yeah, and being there creates mismatches elsewhere. That's why they specifically put him there, and they know that he can play down there too, but it creates mismatches for the Mavs defense. So, Kevin, I think when the Mavs, I haven't seen them play their best version of their game either, because their best version of their game. Now, I guess we got to figure out, and Kid has to figure this out too, is the Mavs can share the ball. And we've seen so much isolation. I'm almost sitting here going, are they slow playing it? They don't want to show anything too soon, and they're just trying to beat them this way? Because I'm not seeing the same Mavericks that I've seen for most of the year with this group where they distribute the ball so well. But the problem is the Celtics have been so good at playing you one-on-one that's not allowing you to find that mismatch.
Man, I think that's a really good point, because it seems like, and y'all correct me if you think I'm wrong, but the narrative has been, hey, the Celtics haven't always played their best because they just haven't. But the Mavericks aren't playing their best because of the Celtics.
Yeah.
You know, like that feels like that's the way it is. And I was looking at a couple of things, and I understand that you can bring some of these things up for the Mavericks as well. But this is the whole reason I asked this question. Tatum is 12 of 38. He's shooting 31.6%. He's shooting 28.6% from three. Yet you're down 0-2. And there's so many things like that you can look at. And I realize regular season, nowhere near the same. But then when you look at, hey, the Mavericks in 4 games against the Celtics this year have lost by 9, 28, 18, and 7. And they're averaging way lower offensively than they have been. Then you throw in the fact that Kyrie has lost 12 straight against Boston. I realize a lot of this is in regular season, so it's not necessarily apples to apples. But when you stack up all these things, the theoretically best player for the Celtics is Jason Tatum. I understand Jaylen Brown is on pace to win the series MVP, but Jason Tatum is their best player, all right? And so, sorry, Jason Kidd. And he's not playing particularly well, yet they're up 2-0. And like, you look at these things and you're just thinking, do you need the Celtics to falter while you were playing excellent to win these games?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like. It really does after just 2 games.
Or you have to be a dictator. You have to dictate the game to them and force them to falter. And that's what the Celtics are doing to the Mavericks.
No, I agree. Do you think the Mavs can do that? I don't know. I don't know
either. And then it's kind of not legal to do it anymore, but you might need to clothesline Kurt Rambis. Like, I know that was the Celtics doing it to him, but at this point, the way that they're getting to the paint, it's not really legal. You'll get thrown out of the game and suspended, but
you got to figure a way out to draw them off sides.
If you want to knock somebody's teeth out when they go to the lane and then make them think, oh, crap, are they going to break my nose now when I do this? But the thing is that's not today's game. And I'm not saying it should be today's game, but that's one thing that can change a series all of a sudden if you start playing dirty. And I don't think that's the way the Mavs are going to do it. I don't think that that's the way the NBA wants it to happen. They've put in a lot of rules to make sure that doesn't happen.
But you can't play more physical without crossing over into that. And I don't think the Mavericks have found that balance either.
And maybe Maxi Kleber will. I mean, I don't care if he gets thrown out at this point. Like, he's not really much of a player right now with his shoulder situation. So I don't know. I think something has to get the Celtics off of their drive game, because they're either driving and somewhat finishing, driving and then giving it to somebody for an easy shot, or driving and then kicking it out to an open 3, which in game 1, they destroyed us. In game 2, they missed a lot of them. But there's nothing right now. Like, the Celtics practice today, and if they practiced yesterday, there's no adjustment necessary at all against this team. We're doing everything right defensively. Don't touch it. Just keep doing it until they either figure it out or they don't figure it out and we sweep them. And then offensively, you got to say, guys, we're getting a lot of premium looks. We just got to make a few more shots than we did in game 2, and we'll really destroy them. We will kind of make it like a game 1 non-competitive game. So the Celtics practice is really easy right now. Keep doing the same thing. To your point of what's happening with the Mavericks, I'm sure that they're going through a lot of film study, a lot of defensive situations, trying to figure out a better way to play defense with our guys in the right spot. And then offensively, trying to figure out what to do, because Corey talked about ball movement. Well, here's the problem. Celtics have so many good pressure ball handlers. Derek Jones Jr. can't dribble, and neither can really PJ Washington. So when you want to move the ball and then give them a situation to dribble the ball, the issue is they have such good on-ball defenders that they poke the ball away or make it so uncomfortable they put the ball on the floor for 1 or 2 dribbles and then pick the ball up because they're uncomfortable dribbling against those guys.
While you're going through, obviously, the more complex flow of the game, I swear I'm not trolling with this question. Do you spend any additional time on free throw shooting, or does that ship sail early in the playoffs? You're like, look, you're probably going to be around 65%. That's just the way it's going to be.
I mean, I'm sure at the end of practice, the guys get up 100 free throws or whatever it is, like their routine. I don't think I think right now it's too late. You are what you are. They're a bad free throw shooting team. They've been a bad free throw shooting team all season. You just have to hope that on these next, hopefully you get to play 5 more games. In these next 5 games, somehow they miraculously go in at 80% or better. But this is a bad free throw shooting team led by an inconsistent free throw shooter in Luka Doncic.
I still think you can. I'm sorry, Corey. I still think you can play those 5 games. I realize statistically now it looks unlikely, but I'm not in the camp that like this series is over. We're probably going to dive into that later in the show. I don't feel that way at all because I still think you have the best of every player out there. All of them. Yeah. You have the best 2 closers in this series, all right? Now, I know you haven't seen that reflected yet, but you do. And if they turn it on, that can get you where you want to be.
And if you're going to just get here and quit at being down 2-0, then what are you even... Yeah. You shouldn't have been here in the first place. But, you know, I think there are some games that... And I don't think you can go outside of too wildly consistency that you've done throughout the season. Because whenever you change things too much... It looks like panic, right? But I think there are some games to lighten the mood, to make some competitiveness happen, to get that back out on the court. And one of the things that I remember that really stuck out to me was I was in the Mavs practice facility right after it was during Game 5, during a shoot around during that week.
Are you talking about the NBA Finals in 11?
Yeah, Game 5, 2011, and Dirk hits 91 of 100 3-pointers to close out the session. And then Peja hits 97 out of 100.
Wow.
That's 97%.
Yes.
Based on sign Peja right now.
Well, and I don't think Peja, aside from the Lakers game,
you think Hardaway Jr. would hit 98?
Who?
Hardaway Jr.
Oh yeah, maybe
I
so.
think Shaq thinks he would.
But that was that competitiveness. You know, that they were like Dirk had a competition with Peja. Peja stepped up and won it, and then Dirk took it back out onto the court. I mean, there's some, and they were having fun. You know, that was another thing. They were having fun with each other. They were having fun doing it, and they go out there and they keep winning. So I think there's ways to practice the free throw shooting, but that is something you build over time. But there's something to that.